Hello guys, I have a little bit of cold, but I'm gonna be making a game anyways. I feel great since I've been taking, medicine. Yeah. Um. Yeah. So we're making a bird that flaps today, or a Flappy Bird. Yeah. I'll probably have the rest muted, so no need for camera. So now for the voiceover, it's been a few days. I've already been through day 3 of creating games each day. So yeah, I'm making the character and the polls that you need to avoid. At this moment, I'm just creating simple sprites so that I can have a basis for what the game should be. Right here I'm just creating photos to keep it organized, and also I'm going to be skipping the parts that are wait time or times that I'm going to eat or drink, so yeah. The way I'm going to be using the colladas is so that they're not just triggers. If you hit them, then you're going to be able to land on them, and it's actually going to have a collision, so that it makes a funny effect whenever you fall. Since I'm going to be using controller and keyboard controls, I'm just making sure that it's all set up the way I want it. You will see a bit of variables. That's what the started and dead is. This is just to make it much easier for writing the code. And also there's a static variables so that we can access it across scripts very easily. At this point, I'm just talking over the recording so that y'all have a basis for what I'm doing. Right here, we're just creating an I enumerator for, you know, starting quarantine and stuff. This makes it to where we can wait. I mean, it's like a function, but you can wait very easily in it, and you just have to call it right off the bat. You know, yeah, you get it. This is what I meant earlier whenever I said that the static variables were very easy to access. As you can see, movement.start and movement.dead. They're both static variables, so you can just access them just like that. Also, if you wanted more information about this type of stuff, I'll just say static variables. If a scene's reloaded, then you'll have to add them in the start function to reset to their original values if you want them to reset on start or whenever you reload a scene. Rigid bodies are very useful because, of course, you can freeze rotation if you need it, and positions. It just makes the workflow easier on the game engine. You may have noticed the one in the console. I just do that to debug much better. This is just to see if we're getting the input we need. As you can see, we are now jumping, which is fantastic to see. I'm just making the jump force perfect, or yeah, you get the point. We want the game to be playable just like the original Flappy Bird. Of course, this was inspired by Flappy Bird. That's the whole thing I'm doing for this make a game each day thing. I made this game 2 days ago. Well, maybe 3 days ago, but I've been making games each day since then. It's gonna be a wild upload schedule, but yeah. Just making the game function to where it feels better for the player is what you want. At this point, I'm just making the collision make you die, I guess you could say, or the crow die. Yeah, you probably don't want to die. So right here, I'm just adding it to load the normal scene whenever you die, or whenever you press the A button or the submit button whenever you die. This makes it to where it just restarts. Right here, we're actually just adding score and enforcing it to where it only adds once for each goal. This is mainly to make it to where whenever the goalpost moves back to its original position and comes back, then we don't have any trouble with adding just one score per post. So of course we run into the problem with how do we make it to where the post moves, and at this point I just make it to where each time it resets or whenever the game starts, then it changes to a random Y value. Of course we need a menu, so I imported TMP text because it is a very useful tool for some nice looking text, and I didn't want to use normal text because I don't know. Yeah, normal text would work as well, but I like TMP text, I guess. So right here is just the high score and score. I'm gonna make the high score a little smaller just because high score is obviously a longer set of words than just score. Now we're working on a script for the score menu, of course. This so that it updates the score primarily, and we're going to be also doing stuff such as setting the high score, getting the high score, and keeping it updated to the standards of the player. Now, the way we're going to be setting and getting high score is only going to be saved on the local machine. It's nothing crazy like cloud saves, but it gets the job done. And most importantly, most people are not going to worry that much about that on a local device. So of course I'm getting the distance of the X values, and we're adding an offset so that we can have a better determination for when you get a score. So if you're like past it, for example, then that's going to count as a score, but if you're not past it, then it shouldn't count for a score. And man, does this work. You get score, and it's working pretty good, so that is pretty fantastic. Of course, I gotta take a snapshot so I can send it to some people, you feel me? Now we're getting into high score territory. Now, yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. Player preferences. This saves on like your local machine, so each player is going to have their own high score show up. Of course, if you let other people on your machine and set a high score, that's gonna be a thing as well. It's just on their local machine. Yeah, if you wouldn't notice, the high score does update as you are playing, and of course, whenever you die, it's gonna have your high score, there. But of course, as you can see now, it does not set the high score to the normal score because we made the high score set itself. Right here, I'm just messing with the font options so I can get a um, a better look for the game. I ended up going with having the first letter large and the two main functions of the text to be large, which turns out to be very appealing to the eye. Right here, we're just making sure that it says restart instead of play whenever you die. This makes it to where it's more obvious what you are doing. So we're going to be creating some sprites for the game since we got the main game pretty much done. These sprites will help make the game have its own feeling. I thought the top of this thing's head was a little weird looking, so that's why I was chopping part of it off. And the sprite looks pretty good now. You may not notice it yet, but I'm saving the files on a separate screen. I'm just doing this so that I can import the images into a game. Of course, I'm going to be making some more images with Photoshop so I can just slap it in the game. I'm just using the images off the web and photoshopping them just to save on time. So I can continue this trend of creating a game each day. I'm creating two public sprite variables mainly so that I can just animate in the script instead of making it with Unity animations. This makes it so that it's much more flexible and I can just use it in the AI enumerators. Right here is actually where I set these sprites. Now, there's only two sprites, so it's pretty easy to deal with. And yeah, it puts out a good result in the end. It makes it look like it's flapping its wings whenever it goes up, and it looks like it's trying to glide whenever it's, falling. So this is where I add it to where it follows a velocity trend whenever it's rotating. This is just so that it looks better. I did add maxes and lows of this so that it does not do a 360 or whatever you want to say, and it just genuinely makes the feel of the game much better. You may want to know about the collisions of the game so that you have a better sense of how you can get the better score. They're just squared off and they follow the image's width and height. And what I'm speaking is of the visible pixels. That's how I made it. So that's easier, and also you know, you gotta know the meta, I guess you would say. Is that how you say it? Meta or meta? Meta? I don't know. You see, I was gonna make the background, but I was trying to save on time, so I just copied an image from Google and photoshopped it to where it could easily be um, continuously added, or whatever you want to say, just so that it feels better, you know, so that we could traverse the scene in a way that would not look terrible. So we're gonna add like a parallax top background that continues forever. Of course, there's a little black line that shows up, but I wasn't concerned about that. So in the final product, if you see that, it's not that noticeable, and I'm glad with how this panned out. So right here, we're just creating the script that makes the the background parallax, and basically makes it continue forever. I wish I could speed this up way more than I currently can, but that would require rendering and, you know, putting it back in the video editor. I'm using Vegas Pro, by the way. If you haven't noticed the trend, I've been making it to where if you die or it hasn't started yet, then the scene does not move at all, or like the background doesn't, for example, in this part, and it makes it look well. Aha! As you can see, I did swap up the you know, the signs a bit, so it did not work properly, but I did get that fixed and it looks pretty good. Now, I constantly kept looking at that black line that would show up, which eventually led me to try several things to fix it, which, now that I think of it, I could have fixed it indefinitely, but, you know, I didn't want to waste too much time on it. So this is what you get. I did end up going back to Photoshop and changing the sprites to white so that I could easily change the color of the sprites. I didn't think that the white color of the crow matched well with the background, so I eventually changed its color. And you will be surprised what I added to the to be the the pipes that are normally a Flappy Bird. I changed them to be cranes mainly because the background. I saw some interesting things in the background that reminded me of a crane. So the cranes were definitely a great addition to the game. Of course, you gotta add a tiny gradient to the crane so that has a dark but still a yellow crane top deal, And of course, this was a very annoying thing that I had to deal with because it kept on wanting to do its own thing. I did eventually get it fixed though, and it looked good. So that's what was added to the game. I eventually did darken it, which made it look even better than it already was. I did make it a little invisible or transparent just so that I thought it looked better for the game. They eventually made it look like it had a metal top reflective feeling, so yeah. I think it turned out pretty well in the end. Alright, so here I'm adding it to the game. Of course, we've got to adjust the collados. I did make it to where there's 2 collados per object, just so that you can easily avoid it according to what the image looks like. Of course, I did not make it to where, like, if you hit a string, you died, because that would be outrageous. But, yeah. I think the collisions are pretty solid for, the crane. Of course, from now on it was just making the colors match, and I'm just gonna skip to the end so you can see the final colors and see how it ended up. There is one thing I did notice about the final style of the game. It is very hard to see if you have a bad or one of them old monitors, It's monitors that track a lot of, it just, if you have bad glare on the screen, it's gonna be hard to see, that's all I'm saying. But I think the game ended up well. If I could change the color, I would probably do it. I might go back to it and change the colors a bit. But other than that, the game looks phenomenal. The parallax background fits nice. Anyways, if you like this video, then please subscribe, like, and comment. And yeah. Hopefully you tune in next time to the next game that's being created, which is Dinosaur Run. I think you all will be in a tree for that one. Anyways, see you guys later, and peace out.